I'm Sonya Iverson, and I'm a slackliner. I walk lines between cliffs and buildings, a type of slacklining called highlining. When people find out you're a slackliner, there's a handful of questions they tend to ask, so I'm just going to get those out of the way. Yes, I have seen that old movie about the guy who walked a tightrope between the Twin Towers, and the Hollywood version, The Walk. No, I'm not training for the circus. And yes, I can walk all the way to the end, but I can't do a backflip on it. Yes, it does take a lot of balance. No, I'm not a gymnast. Yes, I'm tied in when I do it up high. Yes, it's a bit scary, but no, I'm not an adrenaline junkie. Okay, we got that out of the way. So, slacklining, like this event, tends to draw a lot of scientists, engineers, and other analytical types. And I'm a scientist myself, but today I want to talk about superpowers, because slacklines have a superpower. It's true. Slacklines are absolutely ridiculous. That's it. That's the superpower. My friends and I spend a ton of time and a lot of money and effort seeing who can walk in a straight line for the longest, the fastest, and doing so in the coolest costume. We say it's more complicated than that, but really, slacklining is pretty straightforward. You just walk straight forward. Well, mostly. So what makes being ridiculous, how does that change the world? See, the thing is, it doesn't matter if you're 5 or 50. The first time you step on a slackline and it shakes like mad, you say, this is impossible. You laugh, you smile, you're like, how do you make it stop shaking? And the person who's teaching you smiles because they remember having the exact same thoughts. And just like that, you're friends. That's it. Slacklining connects people. I was halfway through grad school in Boston and thinking about quitting, and one day I'm in the park and I'm watching my community, my slackline friends, play, and I realized I was having more impact on the world through slacklining than I was through science. So since having that thought, I've spent more and more energy using slacklining to connect people and trying to have a positive impact on the world. And I realized I spend most of my energy trying to connect two parts of the world that have this massive disconnect. In 2014, my friends and I started a project called Crossing Lines. It says reconnecting. Is it coming? Hello? Crossing Lines, there we go. Slackline exchange, US and Iran. And my American team traveled to Iran to highline with our Iranian teammates and make a video about the project. Highlining is this naturally artistic, visually striking endeavor that creates amazing pictures. And when someone sees a picture of us highlining with our flags, they ask us about our experience in Iran. And that's the whole point. We want to have those conversations and change the conversation. We want to share our experience, change perspectives. We're going back to Iran later this year, but in the meantime, we're changing our perspectives because in January, this happened. There's currently 65 million people in the world displaced by violence. That's 1% of the world population, and we tried to shut our doors because of an illogical fear. 11 million of those people come from the Syrian civil war alone, and that's of importance to me because I spent 3 months living in Syria, in Aleppo, and visiting these farmers in Idlib. I got to visit these guys, meet their families, I learned some Arabic, and I fell in love with the country. At the time, Syria was one of the most stable countries in the region, but just 2 years later, it rapidly collapsed. And a lot of these refugees now have traveled to Lebanon. Lebanon is slightly smaller than the state of Connecticut, but has nearly twice the population. And of that population, 25% are Syrian refugees, and half of those are children. Sometimes it's easy to drown in these statistics, to feel overwhelmed to the point of stagnation. But like a friend of mine once told me, these children in the refugee camps, they don't need to see our pity. They don't need us to feel sad for them. They need to see a smile. They need to play and feel like kids again. So a couple of months ago, we were in Beirut connecting with this group that teaches circus skills to refugees in schools and camps in Lebanon. And we took over one of their classes. We spent all day, 6 hours, teaching 6 classes of slacklining, about 150 kids. And the thing is, slacklining, it builds balance, it builds focus, it builds confidence. It builds communities with people learning together and teaching each other. And now we're working with refugee organizations in the US to make slacklining part of their recreation programs, to teach kids balance and core strength, to change the way that we see and interact with refugees, and to bring refugees in the US into this incredibly diverse, incredibly welcoming slackline community. We live in a world that is more connected than ever before, and yet we continue to draw lines between cultures, between social classes. We're closing borders and building walls. But the thing about drawing lines is that we have the ability to decide if they connect or divide.